Let's see what book I'm gonna put on today.
Behind me lay the yard, vividly black and white in the moonlight.
Might as well continue with the Island of Dr. Moreau.
Lay one over another.
That one's almost done. Might as well finish it.
LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Alan D. Benedetto. The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells.
Go get my cup of coffee real quick.
When this was accomplished, and we had washed and eaten, Montgomery and I went into my living room and seriously discussed our position for the first time. It was then near midnight. He was almost sober, but greatly disturbed in his mind. He had been strangely under the influence of Moreau's personality. I did not think it had ever occurred to him that Moreau could die. This disaster was the sudden collapse of the habits that had become part of his nature in the 10 or more monotonous years he had spent on the island. He talked vaguely, answered my questions crookedly, wandered in general questions. The silly ass of the world, he said. What a muddle it all is. I haven't had any life. I wonder when it's going to begin. 16 years being bullied by nurses and schoolmasters at their own sweet will. 5 in London, grinding hard at medicine, bad food, shabby lodgings, shabby clothes, shabby vice, blunder. I didn't know any better. I hustled off to this beastly island. 10 years here. What's it all for, Prendick? Are we bubbles blown by a baby? It was hard to deal with such ravings. The thing we have to think of now, said I, is how to get away from this island. What's the good of getting away? I'm an outcast. Where am I to join on? It's all very well for you, Prendick. Poor old Moreau. We can't leave him here to have his bones picked. And besides, what will become of the decent part of beast folk? Well, said I, that will do tomorrow. I've been thinking we might make the brushwood into a pyre and burn his body, and those other things. Then what will happen with beast folk? I don't know. I suppose those that were made of beasts of prey will make silly asses of themselves sooner or later. We can't massacre the lot, can we? I suppose it's what your humanity would suggest. But they'll change. They're sure. He talked thus inconclusively until at last I felt my temper going. Damnation, he exclaimed at some penchants of mine. Can you see him in a worse hole than you are? And he got up and went for the brandy. Drink, he said, returning. You logic chomping, chalky faced saint of an atheist. Drink. Not I, said I, and sat grimly watching his face under the yellow paraffin flare as he drank himself into a garrulous misery. I have a memory of infinite tedium. He wandered into a maudlin defense of beast people in Emling. Emling, he said, is the only thing that I ever really cared for. And suddenly an idea came to him. I'm damned, said he, staggering to his feet and clutching the brandy bottle. With some flash of intuition, I knew what it was he intended. You don't give drink to that beast, I said, raising and facing him. Beast, said he. You're the beast. He takes his liquor like a Christian. Come out of the way, Prendick. For God's sake, said I. Get out of the way, he roared, and suddenly whipped out his revolver. Very well, said I, and stood aside, half my
1 second here, we'll be right back.
his hand upon the latch, perturbed by the thought of my useless arm. You made a beast of yourself. To the beasts you may go. Flung the doorway open and stood half facing me between the yellow lamplight and the pallid glare of the moon. His eye sockets were blotches of black under his stubbly eyebrows. You're a solemn prig, Prendick, silly ass. You're always fearing and fancying. We're on the edge of things, bound to cut my throat tomorrow. I'm going to have a damned pig holiday tonight. He turned and went out in the moonlight. Emling, he cried. Emling, old friend. Three dim creatures in a silvery light came along the edge of the wan beach. One a white-wrapped creature, the other 2 blotches of blackness following him. They halted, staring. Then I saw Emling's hunched shoulders as he came round the corner of the house. Drink, cried Montgomery. Drink, you brutes. Drink and be men. Dame, I'm the cleverest. Moreau forgot this. This is the last touch. Drink, I tell you. And waving the bottle in his hand, he started off at a kind of quick trot to the westward, Emling ranging himself between him and the three dim creatures who followed. I went to the doorway. They were already indistinct in the mist of the moonlight before Montgomery halted. I saw him administer a dose of the raw brandy handling and saw the five figures melt into one big patch. Sing, I heard Montgomery shout. Sing all together. Confound old Prendick. Now again, confound old Prendick. The black group broke up into five separate figures and wound slowly away from me along the band of shining beach. Each went howling at his own sweet will, yelping insults at me and giving whatever vent his new inspiration demanded. Presently I heard Montgomery's voice shouting, "Right turn!" And they passed with their shouts and howls in the blackness of the land with trees. Slowly, very slowly, they receded into silence. The peaceful splendor of the night healed again. The moon was now past the meridian, traveling down the west. It was at its full and very bright, riding through the empty blue sky. The shadow of the wall lay a yard wide in the inky blackness at my feet. The eastward sea was a featureless gray, dark and mysterious. And between the sea and the shadow, the gray sands and volcanic glass crystals flashed and shone like a beach of diamonds. Behind me, the paraffin lamp flared hot and ruddy. Then I shut the door, locked it, and went into the enclosure where Moreau lay beside his latest victims.
Give me 1 second.
Llama and some other wretched brutes, his massive face calm even after his terrible death. And with the hard eyes open, staring at the dead white moon above, I sat down upon the edge of the sink, my eyes upon the ghastly pile of silvery light, and ominous shadows began to turn over my plans. In the morning, I would gather some conclusions of the day, and after setting fire to the pile before me, push out into the desolation of the high sea once more. I felt that for Montgomery there was no help, that he was, in truth, half akin to these beast folk, unfitted for human kindred. I did not know how long I sat there scheming. It must have been an hour or so. Then my planning was interrupted by the return of Montgomery to my neighborhood. I heard a yelling from many throats, a tumult of exultant cries passing down towards the beach, whooping and howling, and excited shrieks that seemed to come to a stop near the water's edge. Riot rose and fell. I heard heavy blows and the splintering smash of wood, but it did not trouble me then. The discordant chanting began. Thoughts went back to my means of escape. I got up, brought the lamp, and went into a shed to look at some kegs I had seen there. Then I became interested in the contents of some biscuit tins. An open one. I saw something at the tail of my eye, a red figure. It turned sharply. Behind me lay the yard, vividly black and white in the moonlight, and the pile of wood and faggots on which Moreau and his mutilated victims lay, one over another. They seemed to be gripping one another in one last revengeful grapple. His wounds gaped, black as night, and the blood that had dripped lay in black patches upon the sand. Then I saw, without understanding, the cause of my phantom, a ruddy glow that came and danced and went upon the wall opposite. I misinterpreted this, fancied it was a reflection of my flickering lamp, and turned again to the stores in the shed. I went on rummaging among them, as well as a one-armed man could, finding this convenient thing in that, putting them aside for tomorrow's launch. My movements were slow, and the time passed quickly. Insensibly the daylight crept upon me. The chanting died down, giving place to a clamor. Then it began again, and suddenly broke into a tumult. I heard cries of "More! More!" It sounded like quarreling, a sudden wild shriek. The quality of the sounds changed so greatly that it arrested my attention. I went out to the yard and listened. Then, cutting like a knife across the confusion came the crack of a revolver. I rushed at once through my room to the little doorway. As I did so, I heard some of the packing case behind me go sliding down and smash together with a clatter of glass on the floor of the shed. But I did not heed these. I flung the door open and looked out. Up the beach by the boathouse, a bonfire was burning, bringing up sparks into the indistinctness of dawn. Around this struggled a mass of black figures. Hearing Montgomery call my name, I began to run at once toward this fire, revolver in hand. I saw the pink tongue of Montgomery's pistol look out once, close to the ground. It was down. I shouted with all my strength and fired into the air. I heard someone cry, "The master!" The knotted black struggle broke into scattering units. The fire left me sank down. The crowd of beast people fled in sudden panic before me, up the beach. In my excitement, I fired up a retreating backs as they disappeared among the bushes. Then Then I turned to the black heaps upon the ground. Montgomery lay on his back, the hairy gray beast man sprawling across his body. The brute was dead, but still gripping Montgomery's throat with its curving claws. Nearby lay Enling on his face and quite still, his neck bitten open and the upper part of the smashed brandy bottle in his hand. Two other figures lay near the fire. The one motionless, the other groaning fitfully, every now and then raising its head slowly and dropping it again. I caught hold of the gray man and pulled him off Montgomery's body. His claws drew down the torn coat reluctantly as I dragged him away.
How's everyone doing today?
Scarcely breathing. I splashed seawater on his face.
That's where you start the day off. A cup of coffee and a nice bowl.
The wounded creature by the fire was a wolf brute with a bearded gray face. Lay, I found, the fore part of its body upon the still glowing timber. The wretched thing was injured so dreadfully that in mercy I blew its brains out at once. The other brute was one of the bowmen, suave and white. He too was dead. The rest of the beak had vanished from the beach. I went to Montgomery again and knelt beside him, cursing my ignorance of medicine. The fire beside me had sunk down, and only charred beams of timber glowing at the central ends and mixed with the gray ash of brushwood remained. I wondered casually when Montgomery had got to wood. Then I saw that the dawn was upon us. The sky had grown brighter, the setting moon was becoming pale and opaque in the luminous blue of the day. The sky to the eastward was rimmed with red. Suddenly I heard a thud and a hissing behind me, and, looking round, sprang to my feet with a cry of horror. Against the warm dawn, a great tumultuous mass of black smoke were boiling up out of the enclosure, and through their stormy darkness shot flickering threads of blood-red flame. Then the thatched roof caught. I saw the curving charge of the flames across the sloping straw.
Hey, the goddess, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by.
I knew at once what had happened. I remembered the crash.
How's your day going?
I rushed out to Montgomery's assistance. I had overturned the lamp. The hopelessness of saving any of the contents of the enclosure stared me in the face. My mind came back to my plan of flight, and turning swiftly, I looked to see where the two boats lay upon the beach. They were gone. Two axes lay upon the sands beside me. Chips and splinters.
Hell yeah, the goddess. It's always good when it rains.
Blackening and smooching with the dawn.
We need to get some more over here because it's just been hot. So let's see what it is right now. It's 82 degrees right now. It's supposed to be get up to I think like 95, 98, something like that today. I'm not doing too bad. Enjoying a cup of coffee and a nice bowl.
He seemed trying to think. Last, he murmured. The last of the silly universe. What a mess.
Got hold of some Gorilla Glue.
His head fell helplessly to one side. He thought some drink might revive him. There was neither drink nor vessel in which to bring
Oh
the
shit.
drink at hand.
I don't drop
It
it.
seemed suddenly heavier. My heart went cold. I bent down to his face, put my hand through the rent of his blouse. He was dead. Even as he died, a line of white the sun rose eastward beyond the projectile.
Got hold of.
Flashing its radiance across the sky, turning the dark scene to a
Oh shit.
dazzling light.
Oh yeah.
Fell like a glory upon his death.
That's supposed to be 92 tomorrow, huh? Yeah, I got hold of a little bit of cash to get some smoke from a buddy of mine. I was got to make 3 different dog leashes. I had a paracord.
Some gusts of flame, fitful crackling, and now and then a crash. Heavy smoke drove up the beach away from me, rolling low over the distant treetops towards the huts in the ravine. Beside me was a charred vestiges of the boats and his 5 dead bodies. Then, out of the bushes came 3 beasts.
People tend to get charged a little bit more with for my paracord work when it's dog leashes because that's a lot of fucking paracord. That and it takes me a little bit doing dog leashes. And then it's hard on my hands. That's as straight as I could pretty much put some of them fingers on that hand.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain.
Yeah, I make dog leashes, dog collars, the paracord bracelets.
Beyond Dr. Moreau.
Yeah, like this,
Chapter 20.
a keychain.
I face these people, facing my fate.
And it also works that if you need to,
In my pocket was a revolver.
see, just grab it right there, and if you need to use it, just
The tide was creeping in behind.
that's got some weight, just smack the shit out of someone.
I looked squarely into the
That and the person I'm making the dog leashes from, if they like them, then they more than likely gonna order some rifle slings.
They stopped and stared at me. Salute.
The rifle slings, that yeah, they'll get charged a little bit, because that's gonna take a little bit to do.
I repeated my command with my heart in my mouth.
Cause that shit's hard on my hands. Because let's see
I turned and walked towards the dead bodies, keeping my face towards the three.
how that one is.
Very much as an actor passing up the stage faces the
It's hard on my hands and it's hard on my back. So I gotta stand up and do it, because I don't have a jig for it just yet. So I tie it between outside and our. We have like a little awning over the part of our. I guess you could say like side of the house. But I just tie it from one pole to the other pole. There's my little jig, and I just work that way. So I do as much as I can for the time. I have disconnect it, take it aside so the dogs don't get it, and then bring it back out and start off on it again.
Take him, said I, standing up again, pointing forward. Take him and carry him out and cast him into the sea. They came forward, evidently still afraid of me.
And with it being paracord and as far as like the dog leashes are, yeah, definitely you can hold a big dog.
Carried him down to the beach and went splashing into the
I don't care how big that dog is. He's gonna have a hell of a time trying to break that.
Carry him far. They went in up to their armpits and stood regarding him. Let go, said I, and the body of Montgomery vanished with a splash. Something seemed to tighten across my chest. Good, said I, with a break in my voice. And they came back, hurrying and fearful, to the margin of the water, leaving long wakes of black and silver. At the water's edge, they stopped, turning and glaring into the sea as though they presently expected Montgomery to arise there.
Oh yeah, I'll hold your pit with no problem.
They took care not to approach the place where they had thrown Montgomery into the water, but instead carried the four dead Peace people slanting along the beach for perhaps 100 yards before they moved out the castle.
And then the clips I use, these ones, these are actually used for the lead ropes that they use on horses when they're leading horses around. So this one's pretty heavy duty. That's why it's set up like that. Yeah, I could take orders still. I got a little bit of colors, but if you need different colors, I can do whatever colors you need.
Then cried I, salute, bow down. His teeth flashed upon me in a snarl. Who are you that I should? Perhaps a little too spasmodically, I drew my revolver, aimed quickly, and fired. I heard him yelp, saw him run sideways, and turned. Knew I had missed, and clicked back the cock of my thumb for the next shot. But he was already running headlong, jumping from side to side.
Hell yeah.
Not risk another miss. Every now and then he looked back at me over his shoulder.
I just sent me a message on that saying pretty much what colors you need or how many you would need.
Staring after him. I turned to my three obedient beast folk again and signaled them to drop the body they still carried. Then I went back to the place by the fire where the bodies had fallen and kicked the sand until all the brown blood stains were absorbed and hidden. I dismissed my three serfs with a wave of the hand and went up the beach into the thickets. I carried my pistol in my hand, my whip thrust with the hatchets in the sling of my arm. I was anxious to be alone, to think out the position in which I was now placed. The dreadful thing that I was only beginning to realize was that over all this island, there was now no safe place where I could be alone and secure to rest or sleep. I had recovered strength amazingly since my landing, but I was still inclined to be nervous and to break down under any great stress. I felt that I ought to cross the island and establish myself with the beast people and make myself secure in their confidence, but my heart failed me. I went back to the beach and turning eastward past the burning enclosure made for a point where a shallow spit of coral. Here I could sit down and think, my back to the sea and my face against my surprise. And there I sat, chin on knees, the sun beating down upon my head, and an unspeakable dread in my mind, plotting how I could live on against the hour of my rescue, if ever rescue came. I tried to review the whole situation as calmly as I could. It was difficult to create the thing of emotion. I began turning over in my mind the reason of Montgomery's despair. They will change, he said. They are sure to change. And Moreau, what was it that Moreau had said? The stubborn beast.
When I get back to my house, I have to show you one of the dog leashes I have still. It's the first dog leash I ever made, and I used a shitload of paracord for that one just because the vision I had in my head for it, and when I did it, it came out way bigger and way thicker than I was planning on. Because just in that one itself is easily 1,000 feet of paracord, if not more. Well, not 1,000, but it's easily. Let's see. Probably a couple hundred feet of paracord because it's two colors. The spool I took it off of was a 1,000-foot spool. Usually when I ordered 1,000-foot spools, I'll order them just to have that extra color.
No, go away, Francis. Sat my way. Then putting my whip in my teeth, I stooped for a stone, and with that threat drove the creature away. So in solitude, I came round by the ravine.
Because the site I ordered from, the 1,000-foot spools, I usually get it for a good price, so it's usually about, depending on the color, anywhere between $40 to $60 a 1,000-foot spool.
Had I not allowed it to ebb away in solitary thought, I might have grasped the vacant scepter of Moreau and ruled over the beast. As it was, I lost the opportunity and sank to the position of a mere leader among my fellows. Towards noon, certain of them came and squatted basking in the hot sand. The imperious voices of hunger and thirst prevailed over my dread. I came out of the bushes and, revolver in hand, walked down towards these seated figures. One, a wolf woman, turned her head and stared at them, and then the others. None attempted to rise or salute. I felt too faint and weary to insist, and I let the moment pass. I want food, said I, almost apologetically, drawing near. There is food in the huts, said an Octomore man, drowsily, looking away from me. I passed them and went down into the shadow and odors of the almost deserted ravine. In an empty hut, I feasted on some specked and half-decayed fruit, and then after I had propped some branches and sticks about the opening, placed myself with my face towards it and my hand upon my revolver. The exhaustion of the last 30 hours claimed its own, and I fell into a light slumber, hoping that the flimsy barricade I had erected would cause sufficient noise in its removal to save me from surprise. End of chapter 20. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells. Chapter 21. The Reversion of the Beast Folk. In this way I became one among the beast people on the island of Dr. Moreau. When I awoke, it was dark now. My arm ached in its hand. I sat up, wondering at first where I might be. I heard coarse voices talking outside. Then I saw that my barricade had gone, and the opening of the hut stood clear. My revolver was still in my hand. I heard something breathing, saw something crouched together close beside me. I held my breath, trying to see what it was. It began to move slowly, terminally. Then something soft and warm and moist, half All my muscles contracted. I snatched my hand away. A cry of alarm began and was stifled in my throat, and I just realized what had happened sufficiently to stay my fingers on the revolver. "Who was that?" I said in a hoarse whisper, the revolver still pointed. "My master." "Who are you?" "They say there's no master now, but I know. I carry the bodies into the sea. O walker in the sea, of the bodies of those you slew. I am your slave, master." "Are you the one I met on the beach?" I asked. "The same, master." The thing was evidently faithful enough, but it might have fallen upon me as I slept. "It is well," I said, extending my hand for another lifting kiss. I began to realize what its presence meant, and the tide of my courage flowed. "Where are the others?" I asked. "They are mad. They are fools," said the dog man. "Even now they talk together beyond me. They say, the master is dead. The other with the whip is dead. That other who walked on the sea is as we are. We have no master, no whips, no house of pain anymore. There is an end. We love the law and will keep it, but there is no pain, no master, no whips forever again."
1 second, I gotta go get another cup of coffee ready.
I felt through the darkness and patted the dog man's head. "It is well," I said. "Presently we will slay them all," said the dog. "Presently," I answered, "I will slay them all. After certain days and certain things have come to pass. Every one of them save those you spare. Every one of them shall be slain." "What the master wishes to kill, the master kills," said the dog man with a certain satisfaction in his voice. "And that their sins may grow," I said. "Let them live in their folly until their time is ripe. Let them not know that I am the master." "The master's will is sweet," said the dog man, with a ready tap of his canine paw. "But one has sinned," said I. "Him I will kill whenever I may meet him. When I say to you, that is he, see that you fall upon him. And now I will go to the men and women who are assembled together." For a moment the opening of the hut was blackened by the exit of the dog man. Then I followed and stood up almost at the exact spot where I had been when I had heard Moreau and his stag hound he was soon. But now it was night, and all the miasmatic ravine about me was black. And beyond, instead of a green sunlit slope, I saw a red fire before which hunched, grotesque figures moved to and fro. Farther were the thick trees, a bank of darkness fringed above with the black lace of the upper branches. The moon was just riding up on the edge of the ravine, and like a bar across its face drove the spire of vapor that was forever streaming from the fumaroles of the island. "Walk by me," said I, nerving myself, and side by side we walked down the narrow lane, taking little heed of the dim things that peered at us out of the huts. None about the fire attempted to salute me. Most of them disregarded me ostentatiously. I looked round for the hyena swine, but he was not there. Altogether, perhaps 20 of the beast folk squatted, staring into the fire or talking to one another. "He is dead! He is dead! The master is dead!" said the voice of the man to the right of me. "The house of pain! There is no house of pain!" "He is not dead," said I in a loud voice. "Even now he watches us." This startled them. 20 pairs of eyes regarded me. "The house of pain is gone," said I. "It will come again. The master you cannot see, yet even now he listens amongst you." "True, true," said the dog. They were staggered at my assurance. An animal may be ferocious and cunning enough, but it takes a real man to talk to. "The man with the bandaged arm speaks a strange thing," said one of the beast folk. "I tell you it is so," I said. "The master in the house of pain will come again. Woe be to him who breaks the law." They looked curiously at one another. With an affectation of indifference, I began to chop idly at the ground in front of me with my hatchet. They looked, I noticed, at the deep cuts I made in the turf. Then the satyr raised a doubt. I answered. Then one of the doubtful things objected, and an animated discussion sprang up round the fire. Every moment I began to feel more.
How's everyone's Saturday so far?
I talked now without the catching in my breath due to the intensity of my excitement that troubled me first. In the course of about an hour, I had really convinced several of the beast folk of the truth of my assertions and talked most of the others into the previous state. I kept a sharp eye for my enemy, the hyena swine, but he never appeared. Every now and then a suspicious movement would startle me, but my confidence grew rapid. Then, as the moon crept down from the zenith, one by one the listeners began to gather, showing me what his teeth in this light of the sun. began the longer part of my sojourn upon the island of Dr. Moreau. But from that night until the end came, there was but one thing happened to tell, save a series of innumerable small unpleasant details of fretting incessant uneasiness. So that I prefer to make no chronicle for that gap of time, to tell only one cardinal incident of the 10 months I spent as an intake of these half-humanized brutes. There is much that sticks in my memory that I could write, things that I would cheerfully give my right hand to forget, but they do not help me in the story. In the retrospect, it is strange to remember how soon I fell in with these monsters' ways and gained my confidence again. I had my quarrels with them, of course, and could show some of their teeth marks still. But they soon gained a wholesome respect for my trick of throwing stones and for the bite of my hatchet. And my St. Bernard man's loyalty was of infinite service to me. I found their simple scale of honor with baseball.
Hey, J420, how you doing?
Indeed, I may say without vanity.
Thanks for stopping by.
That I held something like preeminence of them. One or two, whom in a rare access of high spirits I had scarred rather badly, bore me a grudge, but it vented itself chiefly behind my back and at a safe distance from listeners. My English wine avoided me, and I was always on the alert for him. My inseparable knowledge I really believe that was at the root of the brute's attachment.
I'm smoking on some Gorilla Glue.
The monster had tasted blood and gone the way of the leopard man. He formed a lair somewhere in the forest and became solitary. Once I tried to induce the beast folk to hunt him, but I lacked the authority to make them cooperate for one end. Again and again I tried to approach his den and come upon him unaware, but always he was too acute for me, and saw or winded me and got away. He, too, made every forest pathway dangerous to me, my ally with his lurking ambuscades. The dogman scarcely dared to leave my side. In the first month or so, the beast folk, compared with their latter condition, were human enough, and for one or two besides my canine friend, I even conceived a friendly tolerance. The little pink sloth creature displayed an odd affection for me and took to following me about. The monkey man bored me, however, he assumed, on the strength of his 5 digits, that he was my equal and was forever jabbering the most errant nonsense. One thing about him entertained me a little. He had a fantastic trick of coining new words. He had an idea, I believe, that to gabble about names that meant nothing was the proper use of speech. He called it big things to distinguish it from little things, the sane, everyday interests of life. If ever I made a remark he did not understand, he would praise it very much, ask me to say it again, learn it by heart, and go off repeating it with a word wrong here or there, to all the milder of the beast. He thought nothing of what was plain and comprehensible. I invented some very curious big things for his especial use. I think now that he was the silliest creature I ever met. He had developed in the most wonderful way the distinctive silliness of man without losing one jot of the natural folly of a monkey. This, I say, was in the earlier weeks of my solitude among these brutes. During that time, they respected the usage established by the law and behaved with general decorum. Once, I found another rabbit.
Hey, Panda Cat, how you doing?
But that was all. It was about May when I first distinctly perceived a growing difference in their speech and carriage, a growing coarseness of articulation, a growing disinclination to talk. My monkey man's jabber multiplied in volume, but grew less and less comprehensible, more and more simian. Some of the others seemed altogether slipping.
I think I did that right.
But they still
Yes, I did.
what I had said to them at that time.
Give me 1 second, everyone.
Imagine language once clear cut and exact, softening and guttering, losing shape, and becoming mere lumps of sound again. And they walked quite erect with an increasing difficulty, though they evidently felt ashamed of themselves. Every now and then I would come upon one, remember running on toes and fingertips, quite unable to recover the vertical attitude. They held things more clumsily, drinking by suction, feeding by gnawing, conquering and forgetting. I realized more keenly than ever what Moreau had told me about the stubborn beast.
Hope everyone's having a good day out there.
Reverting very rapidly. Some of them, the pioneers of this, I noticed with some surprise, were all females, began to disregard the injunction of decency deliberately for the most part. Others even attempted public outrages upon the institution of monogamy. The tradition of the law was clearly losing its force. I cannot pursue this disagreeable subject. My dogman imperceptibly slipped back to the dog again. Day by day he became dumb, quadrupedal, hairy. I scarcely noticed the transition from the companion on my right hand to the lurching dog on my side. As the carelessness and disorganization increased from day to day, the lane of dwelling places, at no time very sweet, became so loathsome that I left it, and going across the island, made myself a hovel of boughs amid the black roots of the molten ocean. Some memory of pain, I found, still made that place the safest for the beast folk. It would be impossible to feel every step of the last day by day. How the hair began to spread over the exposed limbs, how their foreheads fell away and their faces projected, how the quasi-human intimacy I had permitted myself with some of them in the first months of my loneliness became a shuddering horror to the whole. The change was slow and inevitable. For them and for me it came without any difficulty.
That one kind of hurt on that
I
hit.
still went among them in safety, because no jolt in the downward glide had released the increasing charge of explosive animalism that ousted the human nature. But I began to fear that soon now that shock must come. My St. Bernard followed me to the enclosure every night, and his vigilance enabled me to sleep at times in something like peace. The little pink sloth thing became shy.
I think someone's here.
Its natural life once more. We were in just the state of equilibrium that would remain one of those happy family cages which animal tamers exhibit, if the tamer were to leave it forever. Of course, these creatures did not decline into such beasts as the reader has seen in zoological gardens, into ordinary bears, wolves, tigers, oxen, swine, and apes. There was still something strange about each. In each Murrow had blended this animal with that. One perhaps was ursine chiefly, another feline chiefly, another bovine chiefly, but each was tainted with the other creatures, a kind of generalized animalism appearing through the specific disposition. And the dwindling sheds of the humanity still startled me every now and then. A momentary recrudescence of speech, perhaps, unexpected dexterity of the forefeet, a pitiful attempt to walk erect. I too must have undergone strange changes. My clothes hung about me as yellow rags, through whose rents showed the tanned skin. My hair grew long and became matted together. I am told that even now my eyes have a strange brightness, a swift alertness of movement. At first I spent the daylight hours on the southward beach watching for a ship, hoping and praying for a ship. I counted on the Ipecacuanha returning as the year wore on, but she never came. 5 times I saw sails, twice smoke, but nothing ever touched the island. I always had a bonfire ready, but no doubt the volcanic reputation of the island was taken into account for that. It was only about September or October that I began to think of making a raft. By that time, my arm had healed and both my hands were at my service. At first, I found my helplessness appalling. I had never done any carpentry or such like work in my life, and I spent day after day in experimental chopping and binding on the tree. I had no ropes, could get on nothing wherewith to make ropes. None of the abundant
Oh shit.
with all my litter of scientific education, I could not devise any.
Damn, that's crazy, Green Ghost.
I spent more than a fortnight rubbing among the black ruins of the enclosure on the beach where the boats had been burned, looking for nails and other stray pieces of metal.
That is straight crazy there.
Now and then some beast creature would watch me and go leaping off when I called to it. There came a season of thunderstorms and heavy rain, which greatly retarded my work, but at last the raft was complete. I was delighted with it. But with a certain lack of practical sense, which has always been my bane, I had made it a mile or more from the sea before I had dragged it down to the beach to think it all in pieces. Perhaps it is as well that I was saved from launching it, but at the time my misery at my failure was so acute that for some days I simply looked on the beach and stared at the water. I did not, however, mean to die, and an incident occurred that warned me unmistakably of the folly of letting the days pass so. For each fresh day was fraught with increasing danger from the beast. I was lying in the shade of the enclosure wall, staring out to sea, when I was startled by something cold touching the skin of my keel. And starting round, found the little pink sloth creature blinking into my face. He had long since lost speech faculty.
Damn, that's crazy, dude. And feel all that shit that happened and it's a Saturday, huh? Shit, like, I don't know about cigarette. I would have been wanting to fucking smoke a bowl or fucking do a dab after some fucking traumatic shit like that happening in front of me. That's some crazy shit.
In a trampled space, I came upon a ghastly group. My St. Bernard creature lay on the ground dead, and near his body crouched a hyena swine, ripping the quivering flesh with its misshapen claws, gnawing him with snarling delight. As I approached, the monster lifted its glaring eyes to mine. Its lips were
right after some shit like that.
growled menacingly. was not afraid. The last vestige pulled out my revolver. The brute made no sound, but its ears went back, its hair bristled, and its body crouched.
Hey, Panda Cat.
I aimed between the
What's everyone smoking on today?
As I did so, the thing rose straight at me in a leap.
Me, I'm smoking on some Gorilla Glue.
It clutched at me with its crippled hand and struck me in the face. Its spring carried it over me. Behind part of its body, but luckily I had hit its unmet, and it had died even as it lay.
Maybe Saturday. Today is Saturday, bro.
Stood up trembling, staring at its quivering body. That danger, at least, was over. But this, I knew, was only the first of the series.
Oh, yeah, safer, huh?
I burnt both of the bodies in the pyre of brushwood. But after that, I saw that unless I left the island, my death was
I read that completely wrong.
These people by that time.
That's what I get for trying to read it without being able to have it closed, huh?
Few prowled by day, most of them slept. The island might have seemed deserted to a newcomer, but at night the air was filled with calls and howls.
So here I thought I read that wrong for not being able to see. Smoking on some Hype Banana Punch. Nice. That definitely sounds tasty.
The braver of these were already dead. After the death of this poor dog of mine, my last friend, I too adopted to some extent the practice of slumbering in the daytime in order to be on my guard at night. I built my den in the walls of the enclosure, with such a narrow opening that anything attempting to enter must necessarily make a considerable noise. The creatures had lost the art of fire too and recovered their fear.
Oh, she's still dabbing on that shatter.
Together stakes and branches to form a raft for my escape. I found 1,000 difficulties. I am an extremely unhandy man. My schooling was over before the days of slogan, but most of the requirements of a raft I met at last in some clumsy, circuitous way or other, and this time I took care of the strength. The only insurmountable obstacle was that I had no vessel
No shit.
in the water I should be.
Unripe banana, huh?
I would have even tried pottery, but the island contained no clay. I used to go moping about the island trying with all my might to solve this one.
Oh shit.
Sometimes I would
Gelato 33 X Banana Punch, huh?
splinters of unlucky tree in my intolerable vexation, but I could think of nothing.
If I remember right, I think my brother's actually grown a couple gelatos.
I saw a sail to the southwest, a small sail like that of a little schooner, forthwith, and with a great pile of brushwood stood by it at the heat of it, in the heat of the midday sun, watching. All day I watched that sail, eating or drinking nothing, so that my head reeled, and the beast came and glared at me, and seemed to wonder and went away. It was still distant when night came and swallowed it up, and all night I toiled to keep my blaze bright and high, and the eyes of the beast shone out of the darkness. In the dawn, the sail was nearer, and I saw it was the dirty lug sail of a small boat, but it sailed strangely. My eyes were weary with watching, and I peered and could not believe it. 2 men were in the boat, sitting low down, one by the bows, the other at the rudder. The head was not kept to the wind. It yawed and fell away. As the day grew brighter, I began waving the last rag of my jacket to them, but they did not notice me and sat still, facing each other. I went to the lowest point of the low headland and gesticulated and shouted. There was no response. The boat kept on her aimless course, making slowly, very slowly for the boat. Suddenly, a great white bird flew up out of the boat, and neither of the men stirred nor noticed it. It circled round and then came sweeping overhead, with its strong wings outspread. Then I stopped shouting and sat down on the headland and rested my chin on my hands and stared. Slowly, slowly, the boat drove past towards the west. I would have swum out to it, but something, a cold, vague fear.
Oh shit, that's crazy,
In
Gringos.
the afternoon, the tide came up the boat and left it 100 yards or so to the westward of the ruins of the enclosure. The men in it were dead, had been dead so long that they fell to pieces when I tilted the boat on its side and dragged them out. One had a shock of red hair like the captain of the Ipecacuanha, and a dirty white cap lay in the bottom of the boat. As I stood beside the boat, 3 of the beasts came slinking out of the bushes and sniffing towards me. One of my
That'd be a
spasms
weird
of
taste,
disgust
the
came upon me.
gravel and
Thrust the little boat down
am
the
I reading that right?
2 of the brutes
Gravel road dust.
came forward with quivering nostrils and glittering eyes. The third was the horrible nondescript of bear and bull.
Oh
I saw
shit.
them approaching.
That is crazy how that happens.
The gleam of their teeth, frantic horror succeeded my repulsion. I turned my back upon them, struck the lug, and began paddling out to sea. I could not bring myself to look behind me. I lay, however, between the reef in the island that night, and the next morning went round to the stream
Oh, shit.
and empty keg aboard the water.
Huh.
Then, with such patience as I could command, I collected a quantity of
So it's hard to get
then killed two
the wax part of it fruity,
While I
huh?
was doing this, I left the boat moored to an inward projection of the reef for fear of the beach people. End of chapter 21.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information,
Oh shit, BHO crumble.
please visit LibriVox.org.
I don't know if that does make a difference or not.
The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells. Chapter 22. Man Alone.
Depending on how you make your wax, I wonder that depicts like how the flavor's gonna be.
From the southwest, slowly, steadily. And the island grew smaller and smaller. And the lank spire of smoke dwindled to a finer and finer line against the hot sunset. The ocean rose up around me, hiding that low dark patch from my eyes.
Oh shit.
The trailing glory of the sun, went straining out of the sky, was drawn aside like some luminous curtain, and at last I looked into the blue gulf of immensity, which the sunshine hides, and saw the floating hosts of the stars. The sea was silent, the sky was silent, I was alone with the night and silence. So I drifted for 3 days, eating and drinking sparingly, and meditating upon all that had happened to me. Not
Oh
desiring
shit, like the press versus the BHO.
to see men again. One unclean rag was about me. My hair was a black tangle. No doubt my discoverers thought me mad. It is strange, but I felt no desire to return to mankind. I was only glad to be quit of the foulness of the beast people. And on the third day, I was picked up.
Right.
Arcadia.
It's more all. It's pretty much all natural there. You don't have to add anything to it to make it.
My story, judging that solitude and danger.
I didn't think about that.
And fearing their opinion might be that of others.
Right.
I refrained from telling my adventure further, and professed to recall nothing that had happened to me.
Give me 1 second here, bro.
The late days, to the time when I was picked up again, the space of a year. I had to act with the utmost circumspection to save myself from the suspicion of insanity. My memory of the loss of the 2 dead scholars, of the ambuscades of the darkness, of the
What are
body
you doing, you crazy dog?
haunted me, and unnatural as it seemed,
Little dog's just doing laps around the house.
came instead of that confidence and sympathy I had expected. A strange enhancement of the uncertainty and dread I had experienced during my stay upon the island. No one would believe me. I was almost as queer to men as I had been to these people. I may have caught something of the natural wildness of my companions. They say that terror is a disease, and anyhow I can witness, after several years now, a restless fear has dwelt in my mind. Such a restless fear as has half tamed the lion cub may feel. My trouble took the strangest form.
No
I could
shit.
not persuade myself that the men and women I met were not also
Hell yeah. Definitely appreciate that, Green Ghost. No rush.
half wrought into the outward image of human souls, and that they would presently begin to revert, to show first this bestial mark, and then that. But I had confided my case to a strangely able man, a man who had known Moreau, and seemed apt to credit my story, a mental specialist, and he has helped me mightily. So I
How's
cannot
that dog
expect
doing?
that the terror of that island will ever, altogether, leave me. And most times, it lies.
Give me 1 second, everyone. I gotta go see what this dog's doing over here.
But there are times when the little cloud spreads until it obscures all the sky. Then I look about me at my fellow steady and sincere. None that ethic on authority of a reasonable soul. I feel as though the animal was surging up through them, that presently the degradation of the islanders
Damn
would
dog.
occur over again on a larger scale. I know this is an illusion, that these seeming men and women about me are indeed men and women forever, perfectly reasonable creatures, full of human desires and tender solicitude, emancipated from instinct and
Some
slaves
articles.
of no fantastic law, beings altogether different from the beast folk. Yet I shrink from them, from their curious glances, their inquiries and assistance, and long to be away from them and alone.
Oh shit, that's
For
crazy.
that reason, I live near the broad, free Galleon, and can escape thither when this shadow is over my soul. And very sweet is the empty town within, only the wind-swept sky. When I lived in London, the horror was well nigh insupportable.
Oh shit, that's crazy,
I could not
Green
get away
Ghost.
from men. Their voices came through the windows, locked doors with flimsy safeguards. I would go out into the streets to fight with my delusion, and growling women would mew after me. Furtive, rating men glance jealously at me. Weary, pale workers go coughing by me with tired eyes and eager faces, like wounded deer dripping blood. Old people, bent and dull, pass murmuring to themselves. And all
Oh,
I
shit.
see, a ragged tale of jibing children. Then I would turn aside into some chapel. Even there, such was my disturbance.
Yeah, me and my brother at our house, like
Thinks,
where our house is, we have a lot of like
or into
bugs
the
like that, pretty much because
intent faces over the book.
right across the street from us, one half of the big old field that's across the street from us is a cotton field, and the other half is, I believe, an alfalfa field, or if not, a cornfield, one of the two.
And even it seemed that I too was not a reasonable creature, but only an animal, tormented with some strange disorder in its brain which sent it to wander alone, like a sheep stricken with jid. This is a mood, however, that comes to me now. I thank God, more rarely. I have withdrawn myself from the confusion of cities and multitudes, and all my days
Damn, that's a
by
trip.
wise books, bright windows in these lighter bounds, lit by the shining souls of men. I seek you strangers, and have but a small household. My days I devote to reading and to experiments in chemistry, and I spend many of the clear nights.
Yeah, it could be.
There is, although I do not know how there is, or why there is, a sense of infinite peace and protection in the glittering hosts of heaven.
Right, that it could.
In the vast and eternal laws of matter, and not in the daily cares and sins and troubles of men, that whatever is more than animal within us must find its solace and its hope. I hope, for I could not live. And so, in hope and solitude, my story ends. Edward Rendick. End of chapter 22. Man Alone. End of The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain.
Me, pretty much nothing. Well, I still got a while, but most I gotta do today is feed the chickens and pick up eggs. Because my aunt's supposed to be home either late today or sometime tomorrow. Supposedly. I guess I know once they get up there. And then I'll be back at my house. Damn, you got a full day ahead of you, don't you, bro? That's a lot of shit to do by yourself. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Always stay busy, right? Keeps you out of trouble. And staying busy like that with your plants, that definitely means that you won't run out of smoke. You always have something to smoke. And that's always a good thing. Oh no. I smoke a lot mainly just because it helps me deal with going outside, dealing with people, and it definitely helps for the pain. Oh shit. Well, dabs are always good too, but I have that cardio of mine, so my dabs usually don't last for too long. But the dabs that definitely helps with pain. That's pretty much how I am too. I mainly stay at the house. I don't have to go out. I don't go out unless I have to go pay bills, and I go back inside my little cave. Or when I'm over here, like I am now at my mom and aunt's house. Right? That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, that's crazy. I stay outside because there's a lot of fucking dumbasses and crazy drivers out there. Oh shit. That's crazy, Green Ghost. Oh shit. Oh shit. So they're either on they're on one of the two, huh? Right. Oh shit. I used to know a couple of people. That's the only way they could get their car started was they had an interlock on their shit. Damn, that's crazy, Green Ghost. Damn, that'd be crazy. Especially they're driving around some fucking farming equipment. That's some big machinery to be driving around all fucking drunk. Damn. So the kids are having kids. Yeah, that's what I said. That'd be crazy ass shit right there. Damn, that's crazy. Hey, Dangster, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by.
Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings.
Hope everyone's having a good day.
For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. Read by Adrian Pretzelis. Part 2. The Sea Cook. Chapter 7. I Go to Bristol.
Hell yeah.
It was longer than the squire imagined.
Definitely appreciate you stopping by.
And none of our first plans, not even Liz's, of keeping me beside him, could be carried out as we intended. The doctor had to go to London for a physician to take charge of his practice. The squire was hard at work at Bristol, and I lived on at the Hall under the charge of old Redruth, the gamekeeper, almost a prisoner, but full of sea dreams and the most charming anticipations of strange islands and adventures. I brooded by the hour together over the map, all the details of which I well remembered. Sitting by the fire in the housekeeper's room, I approached that island in my fancy from every possible direction. I explored every
Oh shit.
of its surface.
That's crazy. That'll be badass.
Tall hill they called the Spyglass, and from the top enjoyed the most wonderful and changing prospects. Sometimes the isle was thick with savages, with whom we fought, sometimes full of dangerous
Oh, shit.
animals that hunted us.
So you get to see all kinds of badass trucks go by.
Nothing occurred to me so strange and tragic as our actual adventures. So the weeks passed on till one fine day there came a letter addressed to Dr. Livesey, with this addition.
Oh shit, Rap.
In
What
the
the-
case of his absence by Dr. Redruth or young Hawkins. Obeying this order, we found, or rather I found, for the gate.
I like trucks and vehicles and whatnot. I just don't know how to drive.
Old Anchor Inn, Bristol.
Never learned to drive.
17. Dear Livesey, As I do not know whether you're at the hall or still in London, I send this in double to both places. The ship is bought and fitted. She lies at anchor, ready for sea. You never imagined a sweeter schooner. A child might sail her. 200 tons, named
Oh shit, Green Ghost.
Spaniola. I got her through my friend Blandley, who's proved himself throughout the most surprising.
That's badass.
The admirable fellow literally slaved in my interest, and so, I may say, did everyone in Bristol.
And he eventually learned to drive so I could get a vehicle.
For treasure, I mean. Redruth, said I, interrupting the letter. Dr. Livesey will not like that. The squire has been talking after all.
No, I'm in New
He's a
Mexico.
better right, growled the gatekeeper. And pretty wrong go if squire ain't to talk for Dr. Livesey, I should think.
Oh, Ghost.
At that, I gave up all attempt at commentary and read straight on. Blandley himself found the Hispaniola, and by the most admirable management got her for the merest trifle. There is a class of men in Bristol monstrously prejudiced against Blandley. They go the length of declaring that this honest creature would do anything for money, that the Hispaniola belonged to him, and that he sold it to me absurdly high. The most transparent calumnies. None of them dare, however, to
In my area, it's
so far,
it's pretty hot, but let's see what it is today.
To be sure, riggers and whatnot were most annoyingly slow, but time cured that. It was the cruel.
It's only 86 today.
Wished to round up a score of men.
Oh, right now, anyways.
Navy's buccaneers or the odious French.
I think we're only supposed to get up to about 95. So for us, it's a cold day. No shit.
I was standing on the
Ooh,
dock when
that would suck.
accident.
That humidity would suck.
I found he was an old sailor, kept a public house, knew all the seafaring men in
Because here the heat's just a dry, intense desert heat.
He had hobbled down there that
Even when when it's windy and you get hit with the breeze, it's not exactly a cool breeze. It just feels like you get hit with a hairdryer.
Engaged him on the spot to be ship's cook. Long John Silver, he is called, and has lost a leg.
Ooh,
That I regard
that
as
sucks, Green Ghost.
since he lost it in his country's service under the immortal Hawk.
That 100 degrees with the humidity, that would really make it hot.
Well, sir, I thought I'd only found a cook, but it was a crew I had discovered. Between Silver and myself, we got together in a few days.
Oh shit.
Company of the toughest old salts imaginable. Not pretty to look at,
Oh,
but fellows
sure.
on their faces.
If me and my brother lived by a river that's in walking distance, me and him be out all the time fishing.
2 out of the 6 or 7 I'd already engaged. He showed me in a moment that they were just the sort of freshwater swabs we had to fear in an adventure of importance. I am in the most magnificent health and spirits, eating like a bull, sleeping like a tree, yet I shall not enjoy a moment till I hear my old tarpaulins tramping around the capstan. Seaward ho! Hang the treasure! It's the glory of the sea that has turned my head. So now, Livesey, come post. Do not lose an hour, if you respect me. Let young Hawkins go at once to see his mother with Redruth for a guard. And then both come full speed to Bristol. John Trelawney. P.S. I did not tell you that Blandley, who, by the way, is to send a consort after us if we don't turn up by the end of August, had found an admirable fellow for sailing master. A stiff man, which I regret, but in all other respects a treasure. Long John Silver.
To Arizona, that'd be some insane heat. I've seen temperatures from there.
I have a bosun who pipes lives in, so things shall go man-of-war fashion on board the good ship Hispaniola. I forgot to tell you that Silver is a man of substance. I know of my own knowledge that he has a banker's account which has never been overdrawn. He leaves his wife to manage the inn, and as she is a woman
Oh
of
shit.
colour, a pair of old bankers, you and I, may be excused to
That's
guessing
crazy,
that
Green
he's
Ghost.
quite as
That's
much as
definitely a lot of fishing
that
spots
sends
there.
him back to roving. J.T. P.P.S.
Oh shit.
Hawkins may stay one night
That'd
in
be
his
crazy
home.
to hear some shit like that.
J.T.. You can fancy the excitement into which that letter put me. I was half beside ever I despised a man, it was old Tom Redruth, who could do nothing but grumble and lament. Any of the under gamekeepers would gladly have changed places with him, but such was not the squire's pleasure,
Oh,
and
shit.
the squire's pleasure was like law among
We have a couple here. There's one in town that
would have dared so much as
when me and my brother have our fishing license, we usually like going out to. It's pretty much the Pecos River.
The captain, who had so long been the cause of so much discomfort, was gone where the wicked ceased from troubling.
Oh shit.
The squire had had everything repaired and the public rooms and the sign repainted, and had added some furniture. Above all, a beautiful armchair for my mother in the bar.
Oh shit.
Her a boy as
That's
a
crazy,
also,
Dexter.
so that she should not want help when I was gone. It was on seeing that boy that I understood for the first time my situation. I thought up to that moment of the adventures before me, not at all of the home that I was leaving. And now, at sight of this
Oh, is it? I don't think I've been out that way yet. Even when I was traveling, I don't know if I've been down that way.
It's
hard to remember.
Dog's life, for he was new to the work. I had 100 opportunities for setting him right and putting him down, and I was not slow to profit by them. The night passed, and the next day after dinner, Redruth and I were afoot again and on the road. I said goodbye to my mother and the cove where I had lived since I was born, and the dear old Admiral Benbow, since he was repainted, not longer quite so dear. One of my thoughts was of the captain, who had so often strode along the beach with his cocked hat, his sabre-cut cheek, and his old brass telescope. Next moment we had turned the corner, and my home was out of sight. The mail picked us up about dusk at the Royal George on the heath. I was wedged in between Redruth and a stout old gentleman, and in spite of the swift motion and the cold night air...
Oh shit, that's probably a nice scenery too, Green Ghost.
And then slept like a log, up hill and down dale, through stage after stage. But when I was awakened at
Hell yeah,
it was
Dexter.
by a punch in the ribs, and
When I was up there in Michigan, I was wanting to go fishing, just never got around to it. And I left all my fishing gear here.
Where are we? I asked. Bristol, said Tom. Get down. Mr. Trelawney had taken up his residence at an inn far down the docks.
Oh shit, now that'd be badass.
Thither we had now to walk, and our way, to my great delight, lay upon the quays, and besides the great multitude of ships, of all sizes and rigs and nations. In one, sailors were singing at their work. In another, there were men aloft, high over my head, hanging to threads that seemed no thicker than a spider's. Though I had lived by the shore all my life, I seemed never to
Every fish for fish with teeth?
The smell of tar and salt
Nuh-uh.
was something new. I saw the most
The most we have here is we have bass, catfish, bluegill,
and whiskers curled in ringlets and tarry pigtails, and their swaggering, clumsy sea walk.
carp,
If I had seen as many kings or
and
archbishops,
depending on the
I would
weather,
not have been more
they
delighted.
have trout, and some places actually have some alligator gar.
And a piping bosun, and pigtails
Haven't gone after the gar, but
to see.
they've been seen in certain and a couple of the fishing spots.
Buried treasure. While I was still in this delightful dream, we came suddenly in front of a
That'd be badass to go see.
Squire Trelawney, all dressed out like a sea officer, in stout blue cloth, coming out of the door with a smile on his face and a capital imitation of a sailor's walk.
Hey, most hated. See, we got alligator gar here.
And the doctor came last night from London. Bravo! The ship's company complete. Oh, sir, cried I. When do we sail?
Oh shit.
Sail,
muskie, huh?
says he. We sail tomorrow. End of chapter 7.
Oh shit. I'm not sure how big the ones are around here. The one that's seen them is my brother, most hated.
The squire gave me a note addressed to John Silver at the sign of the Spyglass, and he told me I should easily find the place by following the line of the docks and keeping a bright lookout for a little tavern with a large brass telescope for a sign. I set off, overjoyed at this opportunity to see some more of the ships and seamen, and picked my way among a great crowd of people and carts and bales, for for the dock was now at its busiest, until I found the tavern in question. It was a bright enough little place of entertainment. The sign was newly painted, the windows had neat red curtains, the floor was cleanly sanded. There was a street on either side, and an open door on both, which made the large, low room pretty clear to see in spite of clouds of tobacco smoke. The customers were mostly seafaring men, and they talked
I didn't
so
know that
loudly
about
that I hung at the door,
those
almost
ones.
afraid to enter. As I was waiting, a man came out of a side room, and at a glance I was sure he must be Long John. His leg was cut off close by the hip, and under the left shoulder he carried a crutch, which he managed with a wonderful dexterity, hopping about upon it like a bird. He was very tall and strong, with a face as big as a ham, plain and pale, but intelligent and smiling. Indeed, he seemed in the most cheerful spirits, whistling as he moved about among the tables, with a merry word or a slap on the shoulder for the more favoured of his guests. Now, to tell you the truth, from the very first mention of Long John in Squire Trelawney's
I've always
letter,
wanted to try
it
bow
had taken
fishing.
a fear in my mind that he might prove to be the very one-legged sailor whom I had watched for so long at the old Benbow. But one look at the man before me was enough. I had seen the captain, and Black Dog, and the blind man Pew, and I thought I knew what a buccaneer was like. Very different
We have
to me from this
in my tackle equipment and my brother's tackle equipment, we both have a set of nice needle nose pliers in ours.
Where he stood, propped on his crutch, talking to a customer. "Mr. Silver, sir?" I asked, holding out the note. "Yes, my lad," said he, "such is my name, to be sure. And who may you be?" And when he saw the squire's letter, he seemed to me to give something almost like a start. "Oh,
Yeah, I like to trout when me and my brothers go trout fishing. We usually catch our limit pretty quick. And then my brother, he cooks it up pretty good.
Just then, one of the customers at the far side rose suddenly.
He's a pretty decent cook. He can cook some pretty good food.
But his hurry had attracted my notice, and I recognized him at a glance. It was the tallow-faced man, wanting 2 fingers, who had come first to the Admiral Benbow. "Oh," I cried, "stop him! It's Black Dog." "I don't care 2 coppers who he is," cried Silver, "but he hasn't paid his score. Harry, run and catch him." One of the others, who was nearest the door, leapt
Oh,
up
I
and
hate when
started the pursuit.
Yeah,
"If
I was
you
building
have
a
no heart, you
a
shall
good
be
sized
sorry,"
one, and
said
I
Silver.
got right to the dock. I was about to get it, then that motherfucker spit it out and took off.
"Black what? Black Dog," said I. "Has Mr. Trelawney not told you of the Buccaneers?"
Oh shit, hell yeah.
"So?" cried Silver. "In my house? Ben, run and help Harry. One of those swabs, was he? Was that you drinking with him, Morgan? Step up here." The man whom he called Morgan, an old grey-haired, mahogany-faced sailor, came forward pretty sheepishly, rolling his quid. "Now, Morgan," said Long John very sternly, "you never clapped your eyes on that black dog before, did you now?" "Aye, sir," said Morgan with a salute. "You didn't know his name, did you?" "No, sir." "By the powers, Tom Morgan, it's good for you," exclaimed the landlord. "If you had been mixed up with the like of that, you would never have put another foot in my house, you may lay to that. And what was he saying to you?" "I don't rightly know, sir."
No, I haven't.
"Do you call
I've always
him
wanted to try.
shorties or a blessed dead-eye?"
I know mine,
"You don't rightly
my
know,
brother's
do you?
old
Perhaps you don't happen to
Brazilian
rightly
Jiu-Jitsu
know who you were
instructor.
speaking to, perhaps?"
Has done a lot of fly
"What was he
fishing.
trying?
He says he loves it.
Ships? Hey, what was it?" "We was talking of keel hauling," answered Morgan. "Keel hauling?"
What famous movie, Green
"A mighty
Ghost?
suitable thing too, and you may later that. Get back to your place for another time." And then, as Morgan rolled back to his seat, Silver added to me in a confidential whisper that was very flattering, as I thought, "He's quite an honest man, Tom Morgan, only stupid. And now, he ran on again loud. Let's see, Black Dog? Oh, I don't know that name. Yeah,
That's what I'd be worried about is
yes,
snagging shit
He used to come here with a
or catching
bow
myself with a hook.
That he did, you may be sure.
They make that look so easy, but
His name was
in my head, it's not.
cried Silver, now quite excited. Pew! That was his name.
Hell yeah, John McDonald.
He looked a shark.
Thanks for stopping by.
If we run down this Black Dog now, there'll be news for Captain Trelawney. Ben's a good runner. Few seamen run better than Ben. He should have run him down hand over hand by the powers. He talked to Keelan, did he? I'll keel all him. All the time he was jerking out these phrases, he was stumping up and down the tavern on his crutch, slapping tables with his hand, and giving such a show of excitement as would have convinced an Old Bailey judge or a Bow Street runner. My suspicions had been thoroughly reawakened on finding Black Dog at the
Give me
square.
1 second, I want to be right back.
But he was too deep and too ready and too clever for me. By the time the two men had come back out of breath and confessed that they had lost the track in a crowd and been scolded like thieves, I would have gone bail for the innocence of Long John Silver. Now see here, Hawkins, said he. Here's a blessed hard thing on a man like me now, ain't it? There's Captain Trelawney. What's he to think? Here I have this confounded son of a Dutchman sitting here in my own house, drinking of my own rum. Here you comes and tells me of it plain, and here I let him give us all the slip before my blessed deadlines. Now, Hawkins, you do me justice with the cap. You're a lad, you are, but you're as smart as paint. I see that when you first came in. Now, here it is. What could I do with this old tipper I hobble on? When I was a A.B. Master Mariner, I'd have come alongside him hand over hand and broached him into a brace of old shakes, I would. And now, and then all of a sudden he stopped, and his jaw dropped as though he had remembered something. The score! Burst out. 3 goals a row! Why, shiver my timbers if I hadn't forgotten my score. And falling on a bench, he laughed till the tears ran down his cheeks. I could not help joining, and we laughed together, peal after peal, till the tavern rang again. Why, what a precious old sea calf I am, said you and me should get on well, Hawkins, for I'll take my Davy, I should be rated ship's boy. But come now, stand by to go about. This won't do. Duty is duty, messmates. I'll put on my old cocked hat and step along you to Captain Trelawney and report this here affair. For mind you, it's serious, young Hawkins, and neither you nor me's come out with what
I'm listening to Treasure Island right now, since it falls on the public domain. It wasn't Plato, it was Dante, it was the Divine Comedy.
So heartily that though I did not see the joke as he did, I was again obliged to join.
Something to listen to so it's not so quiet.
On a walk along the quays, he made himself the most interesting companion, telling me about the different ships that we passed by, their rig, tonnage, nationality, explaining the work that was going forward, how one was discharging, another taking in cargo, and a third making ready for sea, and every now and then telling me some little anecdote of ships or seamen, or repeating a nautical phrase till I had learned it perfectly. I began to see that here was one of the best of possible shipmates. When we got to the inn, the squire and Dr. Livesey were seated together, finishing a quarter
That's an old movie.
before they should go aboard the schooner on a visitor inspection. Long John told the story from first to last with a great deal of spirit and the most perfect truth. That was how it were now, weren't it, Hawkins? He would say now and again, and I could always bear him entirely out. The two gentlemen regretted that Black Dog had got away, but we all agreed that there was nothing to be done, and after he had been complimented, Long John took up his crutch and departed. All hands aboard for 4 this afternoon, shouted the squire after him. Aye, aye, sir, cried the cook in the passage. Well, squire, said Dr. Livesey, I don't put much faith in your discoveries as a general thing, but I will say this. John Silver suits me. That man's a perfect trump, declared the squire. And now, and Doctor, you may come on board with us, may he not? To be sure he may, said the squire. Take your hat, Hawkins.
Hell yeah.
See the ship. End of chapter 8.
Nice. That'd be badass to go camp out at the state park.
By Robert Louis Stevenson. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit
Oh shit. Dig for diamonds in a volcano, huh?
Treasure Island by
Is
Robert
that where they get
Louis
diamonds from?
Stevenson. Read by Adrian Pretzelis. Chapter 9. Powder and Arms. The Hispaniola lay some way out, and we went under the figureheads and around the sterns of many other ships, and their cables sometimes grated beneath our keel, and sometimes swung above us. At last, however, we swung alongside, and were met and saluted as we stepped aboard by the mate, Mr. Arrow, a brown old sailor with earrings in his ears and a squint. He and the squire were very thick and friendly, but I soon observed that things were not the same between Mr. Trelawney and the captain. This last was a sharp-looking man who seemed angry with everything on board, and was soon to tell us why, for we had hardly got down into the cabin when a sailor followed us. Captain Smollett, sir, asking to speak with you, said he. I've always at the captain's orders. Show him in, said the squire. The captain, who was close behind his messenger,
Oh shit.
at once and shut the door behind him. Well, Captain Smollett,
That's crazy. I didn't know they had places like that.
Seaworthy. Well, sir,
How often do people even find diamonds
better
there?
speak plain, I believe, at the risk of offence. I don't like this cruise. I don't like the men, and I don't like my officer. That's short and sweet.
Oh shit. That's
Perhaps, sir,
crazy.
you don't like the ship? Inquired the squire.
Might have to
As I can see.
convince my brother
Speak to that,
for us to
sir.
go out there and try
Captain
that.
Silver tried, said the captain.
see what we can find.
Seems a clever craft. More
Oh,
I
shit.
can't say.
I got a bedroll.
Possibly so,
That's what I've
may
been
not
sleeping
like
on.
the plan either, said the squire.
I got a bedroll and
Cut in. Stay a bit.
both me and my brother both have like
Stay a
5-man
No use
tents.
of such questions as that, but to produce
Oh, shit.
feeling.
That's
The
crazy.
captain has said too much, or he has said too little, and I am bound to say that I require an explanation of his words. Don't you say like this cruise? Now why? I was engaged, sir, on what we call sealed orders to sail this ship for that gentleman
Oh, whoa.
where he should be.
That's fucking crazy.
Said the captain. So far,
That's a lot of money.
good. But now I find that every man
Just for a
before the
diamond,
mast
too.
knows more than I do. I don't call that fair. How do you? Now, said Dr. Livesey, I don't. Next, said Captain.
Must say
"You are
that definitely
going
fucking
after treasure.
catch up on bills and get me a nice set of couple glasses.
Now, treasure is ticklish work. I don't like treasure voyages on any account, and I don't like them above all when they are secret and when, begging your pardon, Mr. Trelawney, the secret has been told to the parrot. Silver's parrot? Asked the squire. It's a way of speaking, said the captain. Blabbed, I mean. It's my belief neither of you gentlemen know what you are about, but I'll tell you my way of it,
Oh,
life
shit.
or death, and a close run.
Oh shit, a big emerald a few
There,
years
then, I
back, huh? That's
guess
crazy.
true enough, replied Dr. Livesey. We take the risk, but we are not so ignorant as you believe us. Next, you say you don't like the crew. Are they not
So you can find
good
some
seamen?
pretty cool shit
I
there,
don't
huh?
like them, sir, returned Captain Smollett, and I think I should have had the choosing of my own hands. If you that? Perhaps we should, replied the doctor. My friend should perhaps have taken you along with him. But the slight, if there be one, was unintentional. And you don't like Mr. Arrow? I don't, sir. I believe he's a good seaman, but he's too free with the crew to be a good officer. A mate should keep himself to himself, shouldn't drink with the men before the mast. You mean he drinks? Cried the squire. No, sir, replied the captain. Only that he's too familiar. Well now, and the short and the long of it, Captain? Asked the doctor. Tell us what you want.
Oh shit.
Well, gentlemen, are you
That's
determined
crazy.
to go on this cruise? Like iron, answered the
I'm gonna change this book.
Very good, said the captain. Then, as you've heard me very patiently saying things that I could not prove, hear me a few words more. They are putting the powder and arms in the
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This reading by Kara Schallenberg.
Oh shit.
Beowulf. Translated
Right.
by Francis Barton Gomer.
I had to look that up too.
Section 1. Lo, praise of the prowess of people kings, of spear-armed Danes, in days long sped, we have heard, and what honor the athelings won. Oft skilled the Skeffing from squadroned foes, from many a tribe, the mead bench tore, a-wing the earls. Since erst he lay friendless,
Oh
confounded,
shit. And
fate repaid him, for he waxed under welkin, in wealth he throve, till before him the folk both far and near, who housed by the whale path, heard his mandate, gave him gifts. A good king he.
oh shit.
To him an heir was afterward born.
That'd be a nice
a
little
son
trip.
in his halls, whom heaven sent to favor the folk, feeling their woe that erst they had lacked an earl for leader so long a while. The Lord endowed him with wielder of wonder, with world's
Oh shit. You
renown.
thought of the documentary?
Famed was this Beowulf. Far flew the boast of him, son of Skilled in the Scandian lands.
Oh shit.
So
Hell yeah.
becomes it a youth to quit him well with his father's friends, by fee, so that to aid him, aged in after days, come warriors willing, should war draw nigh, liege men loyal. By lauded deeds shall an earl have honor in every clan. Forth he fared at the fated moment, sturdy skilled to the shelter of God. Then they bore him over the ocean's billow, loving clansmen, as late he charged them, while wielded words the winsome skilled, the leader beloved who long had ruled. In the roadstead rocked a ring-dight vessel, ice-flecked, outbound, atheling's barge. There laid they down their darling lord on the breast of the boat, the breaker of rings. By the mast the mighty one. Many a treasure fetched from far was freighted with him. No ship have I known so
Oh,
nobly
shit.
dight with weapons of
That's
war
badass.
and deeds of battle, with breastplate and blade. On his bosom lay a heaped hoard that hence should go far o'er the flood with him floating away. No less these loaded the lordly gifts, fame's huge treasure, than those had done who in former time forth had sent him sole on the seas, a suckling child. High o'er his head they hoist the standard, a gold-wove banner. Let billows take him, gave him to ocean. Grave were their
Oh shit. I might have to check that one out, Green Ghost.
No man is able to say in sooth, no son of the halls, no hero neath heaven, who harbored that freight. Now Beowulf bode in the burg of the Scyldings, leader beloved, and long he ruled, in fame with all folk, since his father had gone away from the world, till awoke an heir, haughty Healfdene, who held through life, sage and sturdy, the Scyldings glad. Then, one after one, there awoke to him, to the chieftain of clansmen, children four. Heorogar, then Hrothgar, Hrothgar, then Helga brave, and I heard that blank was blank's queen. The Haerthel Skilfings helpmate dear. To Hrothgar was given such glory of war,
Oh,
such
that
honor
piece
of
of ash in
combat,
my eye.
that all his kin obeyed him gladly, till great grew his band of youthful comrades. It came in his mind to bid his henchmen a hall up rear, a master mead house, mightier far than ever was seen by the sons of earth. And within it, then, to old and young, he would all allot that the Lord had sent him, save only the land and the lives of his men. Wide, I heard, was the work commanded for many a tribe this mid-earth round to fashion the
Oh shit. Oh yeah. Thanks for stopping by, and you be safe on that road.
Of halls the noblest. Heorot he named it, whose message had might in many a land. Not reckless of promise, the rings he dealt, treasure at banquet. There towered the hall, high, gabled wide, the hot surge waking of furious flame.
Right, that would stress me out
Far
too.
was that day when father and son-in-law stood in feud for warfare and hatred that woke again. With envy and anger, an evil spirit endured the dole in his dark abode, that he heard each day the din of revel high in the hall. Their harps rang out, clear song of the singer. He sang who knew tales of the early time of man, how the Almighty made the earth, fairest fields enfolded by water, set triumphant sun and moon for a light to lighten the land dwellers, and braided bright the breast of earth with wings
One
of
second, I
leaves,
think that dog got
made
into something.
for all of mortal beings that breathe and move. So lived the clansmen in cheer and revel, a winsome life, till one began to fashion evils, that field of hell. Grendel this monster grim was called, March Reaver mighty, in moorland living, in fen and fastness. Thief of the giants, the hapless wight a while had kept since the Creator his exile doomed. On kin of Cain was the killing avenged, by sovereign God for slaughtered Abel. Ill fared his feud, and far was he driven for the slaughter's sake from sight of men. Of Cain awoke all that woeful breed, Ettins and elves and evil spirits, as well as the giants that warred with God weary while, but their wage was paid them. Went he forth to find at fall of night that haughty house, and heed wherever the ring-dames out revelled to rest had gone. Found within it the Atheling band, asleep after feastings, and fearless of sorrow of human hardship. Unhallowed white, grim and greedy, he grasped betimes, wrathful, reckless from resting places, thrifty of the fanes, and thence he rushed fain of his fell spoil, faring homeward, laden with slaughter, his lair to seek. Then at the dawning, as day was
I pretty
breaking,
much just
the
feed
might
the
of
chickens
Grendel
and
even was known.
collect eggs.
Then after Wassail was
No,
wailed,
we don't have an
clouds
outdoor
blown in the
vegetable
morning.
garden.
The mighty chief,
With the heat we have here, would have to actually make like a
labored in woe for the loss of his savings,
greenhouse type deal.
when once had been traced the trail of the fiend, spirit of curse.
Because during the summer we
Cruel
stay
that song,
like
too long, too loathsome.
the hundreds to like
Night returning anew,
108, 109, shit like
who
that.
left no whit, firm in his guilt of the feud and crime.
And we'd have to have
They
it
were
like a
easy to
greenhouse
find
too
who elsewhere
because
sought in room remote their resting.
we have both me and my brother have dogs,
When that bale
and
was
my
done,
dog
it
likes
seemed
ripping
swift
plants up.
with shortest
If
hope.
they're outside,
All
he
things
figures
taken, such help
they're
as
outside.
far and
We put it
fast
out there
to the
for
fiend
him to
out
play
there.
with.
Thus ruled unrighteous and raged his fill, one against all, until empty stood that lordly building, and long it bode so. 12 years tide the trouble he bore, sovereign of Scyldings, sorrows in plenty, boundless cares. There came unhidden tidings true to the tribes of men in sorrowful songs, how ceaselessly Grendel harassed Hrothgar, what hate he bore him, what murder and massacre many a year, feud unfading. Refused consent to deal with any of Daneland's earls, make pact of peace, or compound for gold. Still less did the wise men ween to get great fee for the feud from his fiendish hands. But the evil one ambushed old and young, death shadow dark, and dogs them still, lured or lurked in the livelong night of misty moorlands. Men may say not where the haunts of these hell ruins be. Such heaping of horrors the hater of men, lonely roamer, wrought unceasing, harassings heavy. O'er Hairlock he lorded, gold bright hall in gloomy nights, and ne'er could the prince approach his throne.
Hey,
But
Panda
judgment
Cat, how you
passed,
doing, bro?
or have joy in his hall.
Hope you're having a good day.
Sore
Hope
was
everyone's
the
having a
sorrow
good
to
day.
Skilding's friend,
And
heart
staying
rending
safe out
misery.
there.
Many nobles sat assembled and searched out counsel how it were best for bold-hearted men against harassing terror to try their hand. Whilst they vowed in their heathen fanes altar offerings, asked with words that the slayer of souls would succor give them for the pain of their people. Their practice this, their heathen hope, 'twas hell they thought of in mood of their mind. Almighty they knew not, doomsman of deeds and dreadful Lord, nor heaven's helmet heeded they ever, wielder of wonder. Woe for that man who in harm and hatred hales his soul to fiery embraces. Nor favor nor change awaits he ever, but well for him that after death day may draw to his Lord, and friendship find in the Father's arms. Thus seethed unceasing the son of Healfdene with the woe of these days. Not wisest men assuaged his sorrow, too sore the anguish, loathly and long, that lay on his folk, most baneful of burdens and bales of the night. This heard in his home Hageloc's thane, great among geats, of Grendel's doings. He was the mightiest man of valor in that same day of this our life, stalwart and stately, a stout wave walker. He bade make ready.
Seems like it.
Yon battle king, said he.
But they have
Far o'er the Swan Road, he
there's
flew
shit
and
over
secret
like
will
where they're
monarch
fenced
lead
in
him.
at that they have a lot of shade.
By prudent folk was little blamed, though they loved him dear. They whetted the hero and hailed good omens. And now the bold one from bands of geats comrades chose, the keenest of warriors ere he
It just
could
sucks
find.
'cause it was made for
Oxen, men, the sea
my
birds
mom and
sought,
aunt
and
so they could walk through it.
led them on to
But
the
when I
land
actually
of
walked through it, I actually got to duck down
Time
because
had
both
now
my
come,
mom and aunt are a little
afloat was the
shorter.
ship, boat under bluff. On board they climbed, warriors ready, waves were churning, sea with sand. The sailors bore on the breast of the bark their bright array, their mail and weapons. The men
Oh,
pushed
shit.
off on its willing way the well-braced craft. Then moved o'er
Oh,
the
yeah,
waters
Panda
by
Cat.
might of the wind that barked like a bird with breast of foam, till in season due on the second day the curved prow such course had run that sailors now could see the land, sea cliffs shining, steep high hills, headlands broad. Their haven was found, their journey ended. Up then quickly the waders' clansmen climbed ashore, anchored their seawood with armor clashing and gear of battle. God they thanked for passing in peace o'er the paths of the sea. Now saw from the cliff a Skilding clansman, a warden that watched the waterside, how they bore o'er the gangway glittering shields, war gear in readiness. Wonder seized him to know what manner of men they were. Straight to the strand his steed he rode, Hrothgar's henchman. With hand of might he shook his spear and spake in parley. Who are ye then, ye armed men, mailed folk, that yon mighty vessel have urged thus over the ocean ways, here o'er the waters? A warden I, sentinel
Right,
set o'er
Panda?
the sea march here.
That's what I was about to
standing
ask
foe
too.
the folk of
If you
Danes
do
with harrying feet
intros
should
and
harm
beats
the
for
lad.
people.
No aliens ever at ease thus bore them, linden wielders. Yet word of leave clearly ye lack from clansmen here, my folk's agreement. A greater ne'er saw I of warriors in world than is one of you, yon hero in harness. No henchman he worthied by weapons, if witness his features, his peerless presence. I pray you, though, tell your folk in home, lest hence ye fare, suspect to wander your way as spies in Danish land. Now, dwellers afar, ocean travellers, take from me simple advice. The sooner the better, I hear of the country whence ye came. To him the stateliest spake in answer, the warrior's leader his word hoard unlocked. We are by kin of the clan of Geats, and Hygelac's own hearthfellows we. To folk afar was my father known, noble atheling, Ecgtheow named. Full of winters he fared away aged from earth. He is honored still through width of the world by wise men all. To thy lord and liege in loyal mood we hasten hither, to Healfdene's son, people protector. Be pleased to advise us. To that mighty one
Oh, shit.
come
Hell
we
yeah.
on equal errand, to the lord of the Danes, nor deem I right that aught be hidden. We hear, thou knowest if sooth it is, the saying of men that amid the Scyldings a scathing monster, dark ill-doer in dusky nights, shows terrific his rage unmatched, hatred and murder. To Hrothgar I in greatness of soul would succor bring, so the wise and brave may worst his foes. If ever the end of ills is fated of cruel contest, if cure shall follow, and the boiling care waves cooler grow, else ever afterward anguish days he shall suffer in sorrow, while stands in place high on its hill that house unpeered. Astride his steed, the Strand-ward answered, clansman unquailing, the keen-souled thane must be skilled to sever and sunder duly words and works, if he well intends. I gather this band is graciously bent to the Scyldings' master. March, then, bearing weapons and weeds the way I show you. I will bid my men your boat meanwhile to guard, for fear lest foemen come, your new-tarred ship by shore of ocean faithfully watching, till once again it waft o'er the waters these well-loved fanes, winding-necked wood, to waders' bounds.
Yeah, you
Heroes
definitely
such
always
as the
jamming there,
Hester
Panda
shall
Cat.
succor and save from the shock of war. They bent them to march. The boat lay still, fettered by cable and fast at anchor, broad-bosomed ship. Then shone the board.
That's what I
over the
go into
chief
your
guard,
lives, 'cause I can
chased
just
with gold,
sit there,
keen and
smoke,
blue.
and
Guard it
just
kept
listen to
o'er
the
the
shit
man
you
of
have
war,
going in the
as marched
background.
along heroes in haste. Fill the hall they saw, broad of gable and bright with gold, that was the fairest, mid folk of earth, of houses 'neath heaven, where Hrothgar lived. And the gleam of it
That's why I
lightened
forget
o'er
to say
lands
shit half the
afar.
time.
The sturdy shieldsman showed that bright burg of the boldest, bade them go straightway hither. His steed then turned, hardy hero, and hailed them thus: "'Tis time that I fare from you. Father Almighty in grace and mercy guard you well, safe in your seekings. Seaward I go, 'gainst hostile warriors hold my watch." End of section 1. Read by Kara Schallenberg, www.kray.org, on September 25th, 2006, in Oceanside, California. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox
shit.
recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This reading by Kara Schallenberg. Beowulf. Translated by Francis Barton Gamer.
You see that green ghost? He just needs a little bit of a direction.
Stone bright the street. It showed
I'll
the
have to
way
think
to a
about that
crowd of
too.
clansmen. Corselets glistened, hand-forged, hard. On their harness bright the steel ring sang, as they strode along in mail of battle and marched to the hall. There, weary of ocean, the wall along they set their bucklers, their broad shields down, and bowed them to bench. The breastplates clanged, war gear of men, their weapons stacked. Spears of the seafarers stood together, grey-tipped. That iron band was worthily weaponed. A warrior proud asked of the heroes their home.
What are you doing over there?
Whence now bear ye burnished shields, harness grey and helmets grim, spears in multitude? Messenger I, Hrothgar's herald. Heroes so many ne'er met I, as strangers of mood so strong. 'Tis plain for that prowess, not plunged into exile, for high-hearted valor, Hrothgar ye seek. Him the sturdy in war bespake with words, proud Earl of the Weders answer made, hardy 'neath helmet. Hygelacs, we fellows at board, I am Beowulf named. I am seeking to say to the son of Halfdane this mission of mine, to thy master lord, the doughty prince, if he deign at all grace that we greet him, the good one now. Wulfgar spake, the Wendels' chieftain, whose might of mind to many was known, his courage and counsel. The king of Danes, the Scyldings' friend, I fain will fell the breaker of rings, as the boon thou askest, the famed prince of thy faring hither, and swiftly after such answer bring as the doughty monarch may deign to give. Hide then in haste to where Hrothgar sat, white-haired and old, his
Oh
earl
shit.
about him,
Hell yeah,
till
Panda
the
Cat.
stout thane stood at the shoulder there of the Danish king. Good courtier he. Wulfgar spake to his winsome lord. Hither have fared to thee far come men o'er the paths of ocean, people of Geatland, and the stateliest there by his sturdy band is Beowulf named. This boon they seek, that they, my master, may with thee have speech at will, nor spurn their prayer to give them hearing, gracious Hrothgar. In weeds of the warrior, worthy they, methinks, of our liking. Their leader most surely, a hero that hither his henchmen has led. Hrothgar answered, Helmet of Scyldings, I knew him of yore in his youthful days. His aged father was Ecgtheow named, to whom, at home, gave Hrethel the Geat his only daughter. Their offspring bold fares hither to seek the steadfast friend. My seamen, too, have said me that I carried my gift to the Geatish court, thither for thanks.
Hey, Ozark, how you
As
doing?
men's heft of grass,
She's doing better. She's supposed to be back sometime this weekend, either today or tomorrow.
To Danes of the West, as I ween indeed against horror of Grendel. I hope to give the good youth.
Then I'll be able to go back home.
Be thou in haste, and bid them hither, clan of kinsmen, to come before me, and add this word: they are welcome guests to folk of the Danes. To the door of the hall Wulfgar went, and the word
Oh, yeah, definitely appreciate it, bro.
to you this message my master
Give me
said,
1 second, I'll be right back.
King, that your kin he knows, hardy heroes, and hails you all. Welcome hither o'er waves of the sea. Ye may wend your way in war attire, and under helmets Hrothgar greet. But let here the battle shields bide your parley, and wooden war shafts wait its end. Up rose the mighty one, ringed with his men, brave band of thanes. Some bode without, battle gear guarding, as bade the chief. Then hied that troop where the herald led them, under Heorot's roof. The hero strode, hardy 'neath helm, till the hearth he neared. Beowulf spake, his breastplate gleamed, war net woven by wit of the smith. Thou, Hrothgar, hail! Hygelac's I, kinsman and follower. Fame aplenty have I gained in youth. These Grendel deeds I heard in my homeland heralded clear. Seafarers say how stands this hall of buildings best, for your band of thanes empty and idle, when evening sun in the harbor of heaven is hidden away. So my vassals advised me well, brave and wise, the best of men. O sovereign Hrothgar, to seek thee here, for my nerve and my might they knew full well. Themselves had seen me from slaughter come, blood-flecked from foes, where 5 I bound, and that wild brood worsted. I the waves I slew Nicors by night, in need and peril avenging the waders, whose woe they sought, crushing the grim ones. Grendel now, monster cruel, be mine to quell in single battle. So from thee, thou sovereign of the shining Danes, Scyldings' bulwark, a boon I seek, and, friend of the folk, refuse it not. O warrior shield, now I've wandered far, that I alone with my liegemen here, this hardy band, may Heorot purge. More I hear, that the monster dire in his wanton mood of weapons recks not, hence shall I scorn. So Hygelac stay, king of my kindred, kind to me. Brand or buckler to bear in the fight, gold-colored targe. But with grip alone must I front the fiend and fight for life, foe against foe. Then faith be his in the doom of the Lord whom death shall take. Fain, I ween, if the fight he win, in this hall of gold my geatish band will he fearless eat, as oft before, my noblest thanes. Nor needst thou then to hide my head, for his shall I be, dyed in gore if death must take me, and my blood-covered body he'll bear as prey, ruthless devour it, the roamer lonely, with my life-blood redden his lair in the fen. No further for me needst food prepare. To Hygelac send, if Hild should take me.
Hey,
Rest of
Rested,
war
how you doing,
sword
bro?
in my breast, armor excellent, heirloom of Hrethel, and work of Wayland.
That's all
Bear
good,
to beard
Green
as she
Ghost.
must. Hrothgar
How's your
spake,
day going, Arrested?
Scylding's helmet. For fight defensive, friend my Beowulf, to succor and save, thou hast sought us here. Thy father's combat a feud enkindled, when Heathelaf with hand he slew among the Wilfings. His weder-kin, for horror of fighting, feared to hold him. Fleeing, he sought our South Dane folk, over surge of ocean, the honor Scyldings, when first I was ruling the folk of Danes, wielded, youthful, this widespread realm, this hoard hold of heroes. Heorogar was dead, my elder brother, had breathed his last, Healfdane's bairn, he was better than I. Straightway the feud with fee I settled, to the Wilfing sent, o'er watery ridges, treasures olden. Oath he swore me. Sore is my soul to say to any of the race of man, what ruth for me in Heorot Grendel, with hate hath wrought, what sudden harryings. Hall folk fail me, my warriors wane, for Weird hath swept them into Grendel's grasp. But God is able this deadly foe from his chains to turn. Boasted full oft as my beer they drank, earls o'er the ale cup,
But your
armed men,
ass is
they
up
would
late as
ride
hell
in the beer
doing all
hall
that
here.
shit too.
Grendel's attack.
I'll be
terror
asleep
of
too.
blades. Then was this mead house at morning tide died.
Hell yeah, Green
When the
Ghost.
daylight broke, all
Thanks for
the
stopping
boards of
by.
the benches, blood besprinkled gory the hall. I had
Hopefully,
heroes no less.
It's
Doughty
not too
dear
bad.
ones
Too
that
bad
death
on you.
had reft. But sit to the banquet, unbind thy words, hardy hero, as heart shall prompt thee. Gathered together, the Geatish men in the banquet hall on bench assigned, sturdy-spirited, sat them down, hardy-hearted. A henchman attended, carried the carven cup in hand, served the clear mead. Oft minstrels sang, blithe in Heorot. Heroes revelled, no dearth of warriors, Weder and Dane. Unferth spake, the son of Ecglaf, who
Right.
sat at the feet of the Scyldings' lord, unbound the battle runes. Beowulf's quest, sturdy seafarer,
Oh shit.
sorely galled him. Ever he envied that other men should more achieve in Middle Earth of fame under heaven than he himself. Art thou that Beowulf, Breca's rival, who emulous swam on the open sea, when for pride the pair of you proved the floods, and wantonly dared in waters deep to risk your lives? No living man, or lief or loath, from your labor dire could you dissuade from swimming the main. Ocean tides with your arms ye covered, with strenuous
Right.
hands
That's
the sea
definitely a big
streams
plus.
measured, swam o'er the waters. Winter's storm rolled the rough waves. In realm of sea a Senite strove ye. In swimming he topped thee, had more of main. Him at morning tide billows bore to the battling Remas, whence he hied to his home so dear, beloved of his liegemen, to land of Brondings, fastness fair, where his folk he ruled, town and treasure. In triumph o'er thee Beanston's bairn his boast achieved, so ween I for thee a worse adventure, though in buffet of battle thou brave hast been, in struggle grim. If Grendel's approach thou darest wait through the watch of night. Beowulf spake, bairn of Ecgtheow. What a deal hast uttered, dear my Unferth, drunken with beer, of Breca now, told of his triumph. Truth I claim it, that I had more of might in the sea than any man else, more ocean endurance. We twain had talked in time of youth, and made our boast. We were merely boys, striplings still, to stick our lives far at sea, and so we performed it. Naked swords as we swam along, we held in hand, with hope to guard us against the whales. Not a whit from me could he float afar o'er the flood of waves, haste o'er the billows, nor him I abandoned. Together we twain on the tides abode 5 nights full, till the flood divided us, churning waves and chillest weather, darkling night and the northern wind ruthless rushed on us. Rough was the surge. Now the wrath of the sea fish rose apace, yet me against the monsters my mailed coat, hard and hand-linked, help afforded. Battle sark braided my breast to ward, garnished with gold. There grasped me firm and haled me to bottom the hated foe with grimmest grip. 'Twas granted me, though, to pierce the monster with point of sword, with blade of battle. Huge beast of the sea was whelmed by the hurly through hand of mine. Me thus often the evil monsters thronging threatened. With thrust of my sword, the darling, I dealt them due return. Nowise had they bliss from their booty than to devour their victim, vengeful creatures, seated to banquet at bottom of sea. But at break of day, my brand sore hurt, on the edge of ocean up they lay, put to sleep by the sword. And since by them on the fathomless sea ways sailor folk are never molested, light from east came bright God's beacon, the billows sank, so that I saw the sea cliffs high windy walls. For weird oft saveth Earl undoomed if he doughty be. And so it came that I killed with my sword 9 of the Nicors. Of night-fought battles ne'er heard I a harder neath heaven's dome, nor adrift on the deep a more desolate man. Yet I came unharmed from that hostile clutch,
Oh
though
shit.
spent with swimming.
Hell yeah, Panda Cat.
The sea upbore me, flood of the tide on Finnish land, the welling waters. Nowise of thee have I heard men tell such terror of falchions, bitter battle. Breca, ne'er yet, not one of you pair, in the play of war such daring deed has done it all with bloody brand. I boast not of it, though thou wast the bane of thy brethren dear, thy closest kin, whence curse of hell awaits thee, well as thy wit may serve. For I say in sooth, thou son of Ecglaf, never had Grendel these grim deeds wrought, monster dire, on thy master dear, in Heorot such havoc, if heart of thine were as battle bold as thy boast is loud. But he has found no feud will happen from the sword clash dread of your Danish clan. He vaunts him safe from the victor Skilvings. He forces pledges, favours none of the land of Danes, but lustily murders, fights, and feasts, nor feud he dreads from spear-Dane men. But speedily now shall I prove him the prowess and pride of the Geats.
Alright, I'm gonna call into this live. I gotta go check care of the chickens real quick. But thanks to everyone for stopping by, and everyone who keeps stopping by, showing me love and support. Until next time, everyone, Hobos come out.